Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching Barbarian, directed by Zach Krieger and starring Georgina Campbell and Bill Skarsgård. Now, when it comes to the horror scene, there certainly are many ideas that have been done before and have been remixed and remade countless times over. But with this one, Barbarian, it happens to basically have it happens to mix the styles of something like Sam Raimi mixed with Wes Craven with more modern day horrors of the unknown, especially revolving around Airbnb services, to deliver a horror film that feels remarkably contemporary but also feels like it's delivering some classic old fashioned scares without the need for CGI or the need for a plot that you can understand completely on a first viewing experience. Or at least not one that feels like it's spoon fed to you. But let's get to the story, shall we? I'll only talk about the beginning of the film because I really think this is a film you need to see on your own. So the film is about Tess, a young woman who goes over to Detroit to get a job interview, and she ends up staying at this rental house that she got via Airbnb. However, she finds a man inside the house named Keith, played by Bill Skarsgård, and turns out the house has been double booked for the night. So the two of them have to stay in this house as Tess has to worry about Keith, who seems like a pretty awkward person who she can't really read much, and he can't really read her the other way around either, while they also figure out that there might be something in the house that's more dangerous than the two of them combined. But that's all I'll say about the story. The story here actually happens to go into some really interesting, unexpected places, especially halfway through the film, where it basically feels like it becomes a completely different film entirely at one point, but still in a way that makes sense with the overall material. I just don't think I've seen a horror film or a mystery film of that level that goes for that specific twist before. If if you'll know it, if you see it, you'll know it, and if I'm wrong, you can tell me a film that goes for something similar. But I really think this is something that hasn't been done before in a lot of horror, and it's a twist that I wouldn't mind having people spotlighted. I can easily imagine this being a film for something like Dead Meat by James H. Anise. Speaking of which, the effects for a lot of the gory scenes, as well as some of the designs of some of the characters, really does remind me of Sam Raimi's Evil Dead, especially given that the effects are less low budget and more done with modern effects that actually still feel practical. There's From what I could see, there was very little actual CGI used, and most of the effects that you see were actually done on camera, which really makes the gore and really makes the small bits of action feel all the more impactful when you know that what's there is actually on screen and not just rendered in post. On top of that, there are some other characters other than Georgina Campbell and Bill Skarsgård, and they happen to actually add a lot of both humor and legitimate terror to the film. Especially one near the midpoint that I thought I'd hate throughout, but one who happens to make me wonder whether this is a good person or a bad person. And again, when you see the film, you'll know what I mean. On top of that, I appreciate that it's a film that doesn't feel like it needs to drag everything out. It doesn't tell you all the answers, but it lets you see the film for what it is, and it allows you to connect the dots yourself when it comes to all the plot beats that it gives you. On top of that, at 142 minutes, it's a pretty brisk experience for those who want a good horror. So yeah, Barbarian is a film that I knew basically nothing about going in, but it's one that I absolutely love. And other than a couple of things like some clunky dialogue near the start and some stupid character decisions that really aren't that bad, but they are something do need to point out, this is probably one of my favorite horror films of the entire year, and probably the film that scared me the most this year. And for this film to do that when it came out of nowhere for me, that's quite an accomplishment. So that's why I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. See you next time.